Our first speaker is Whitney Freya. She's a local artist from Joseph. I think many of you know her here, but I think she's one of the most inspirational women out in the county, and constantly empowering and inspiring women to step into their femininity. And so I am happy to introduce Whitney.
Yeah. Standing there, I can still picture it. Like, my mom was here, the art teacher was here. I was super stoked, and the art teacher explains to my mother and I that I had a great eye for color and balance, but drawing wasn't my thing. So I thought that was the end of my creativity artist career, and I spent the next 17 years being a passionate wannabe artist. So on a side note, if you're a wannabe anything, I do believe you are meant to experience that in this lifetime. So what happened is I was actually selling books door to door. My last summer, I sold books from Tushy, College Place, Walla Walla, and whatever is beyond that, knocked on every single door, in order to open the art center. And what I've always understood is that creativity is so much more than creating a product that might hang on a wall that other people might deem worthy enough to spend money on. Creativity is actually a feminine energy. We are the birthers, the creatresses of new life, right? And so for me, teaching people how to paint has always been connected to something I read in a book called Zen and the Art of Making a Living, that said, unless you adopt an artist mentality, you will not be able to create the life of your dreams. So what I understood is that I could create a space that was non-judgmental, completely supportive, that wasn't about who had talent or who didn't, because everybody's creative. And so I did that in order that people could learn more about themselves in the creative process, go back out into the art that is their life, and create the change they wanted. And with just that, like, I opened the doors of this art center. I still hadn't painted on a canvas since I was 9. I really don't exactly know what I was thinking. It was so long ago now. The door-to-door book selling took the fear out of doing just about anything. But what I observed, and the people that would come, I had youth program and adults, but my passion's working with adults, because what we found together, just with the intention of living life as art and owning our truth as life artists, that through overcoming fear of making a mistake, through overcoming a fear of being judged or doing something wrong, that we could take back our creative sovereignty and create more of what we wanted into the art that is our life. That just happened. So I've always been very passionate about the fact that, for me, it's about waking up that creative awareness in as many people as possible, because creativity is problem solving. Creativity is the feminine. So creativity, you think about it, creativity, women's rights, and the environment, all feminine energies have all been swept under the rug, suppressed, invalidated, all the things, right? As any one of them rises, they all do. So I want to ask you, just to get a feel, there's no right or wrong here, but how many of you, if I say, I am creative, you are creative, how many of you would raise your hand? Ooh, ooh, Mimi. Come on. Ooh, see? I love it. Yes. In this creative energy, I want to break it down a little bit for us, because I believe it's tremendously necessary right now, and the way out of this state of the union that we're in is through creating change, is through focusing on what we want, right? Like, we don't go to the canvas to paint something that we find hideous or frustrating or that we wouldn't want to look at, right? We go to the canvas to create what we find beautiful, what we want more of. And the thing is that we're doing that in each and every moment with the words that we speak, the thoughts that we think. And what I know really personally and intimately is that it's so easy to be inspired, right? And think, I want this. I want to take back our feminine power. I want the powers that be to recognize that. I want to live in a world where there's union and equality and mutual respect, where the balance comes back. And then we've just kind of been conditioned to start thinking about all the reasons why that might not happen, or everything that's in our way. It's just the way we've been conditioned. but you can change that. And for me, the canvas just makes that visible, right? So when you go to the canvas, what I'm teaching people is how to observe themselves. Where do you get stuck? Is it your perfectionism? Is it that inner critic? And then can you practice being the opposite? Now, the other thing I do when I go to the canvas is I get to know different aspects of myself or different archetypes or energies that I want more of. So I brought two of my friends here. This is Kali, the goddess Kali, and Yellow Tara or Lakshmi. So Kali has been referred to as the goddess of revolution. Okay? These goddesses, these divine feminine energies, are aspects of all of us. We all have masculine and feminine within us. And the real goal is to get back to a place of balance, of mutual respect. We don't want power over the masculine. We want power with. And so we can't get to where we want to be pointing fingers and blaming and being in that us versus them mentality. And I know it feels like, okay, we've been trying that, right? But what do we know? Like attracts like, right? So the feminine energies that are available to all of us are fierce and are strong, but they're fierce in protecting and defending truth. And the truth is that women are completely capable of deciding what happens within and on and all around their bodies, right? Yeah. So Kali, if you notice the necklace of skulls, how many of you are familiar with Kali? Yes, okay, we love her, don't we? Okay, so Kali has a necklace of skulls which can symbolize cutting off the ego, which the ego isn't a bad thing. The unhealthy, the imbalanced ego sees itself as separate. We're not separate. Nobody wins by suppressing women. Nobody wins by taking away anybody's rights. Nobody wins when there's hate and conflict and war, right? So Kali is the energy that gives us recovering good girls, right? Recovering sugar and spice and everything nice, gives us permission to roar, gives us permission to love all the aspects of ourselves and of life on this planet. Because right now, we're experiencing dramatic contrast. And the contrast is what inspires change. And change can only happen in a creative space. So Kali is here to remind you that you can be fierce and to get really curious about the underlying energies of this tension that we're in, right? It's around women's sexuality. There's a lot of shame and guilt there. She is the energy of complete unconditional love, no matter what. So she's the aspect of you that can say, you can come to me with, a necklace of skulls. She wears a skirt of severed arms and has blood dripping from her tongue, and she still loves you, right? So as women, it's the standing up and the strength and the fierceness to protect. But creativity doesn't point fingers and doesn't play the victim. It uses this darkness to source our greatest power. And then on the other side, we have Yellow Tara, or Lakshmi, who is the goddess of abundance and prosperity. But she's first and foremost a prosperity and abundance of spirit. So she is the feminine energy that when she leaves, all beauty, all growth, all love, all compassion goes with her. Right? So anyone who thinks that they can live on this planet without the feminine, empowered, and creative has a really kind of rude awakening waiting for them. So Lakshmi wants to remind us today that we have more solutions than we have problems. We have more solutions than we have problems. But we've been focused on and are conditioned to focus on everything that's wrong. So I want to invite you, at some point, whether it's right now or tonight, moving forward, to challenge yourself, and it is a challenge, because we have these heavily forged neural pathways, we have these patterns of thinking that like to go down the road of fear and lack and scarcity. But what we also can choose to do is to paint pictures in our minds of the future reality that we are choosing starting right now. You can imagine your daughters, your granddaughters living in a world where they're like, what? That happened? Are you kidding me? Right? Imagine into the solutions. Imagine into people finding common ground. Be that energy of building the bridge, of creating change. Creativity only knows heart. It only knows love and passion. It's not motivated by anger and harshness and criticism, right? It's motivated by love. And it starts within us. Gandhi really nailed it. The whole be the change you want to see in the world. So with all these events that are going on in the world, the first question that I try and ask, which usually leads to lots of inner dialogue, is where am I not loving myself? Where am I not respecting my power? Right? Where am I suppressing or muting or editing? Where am I tapping into scarcity more than abundance? Be that change first. And then be fierce in building a bridge, in offering a vision of a future where we are walking side by side, the masculine and the feminine, right? Because that is the wholeness, that is who we are. This current reality is not who we are. And I'd like to say that the contrast, this state that we're in, I believe could be the watershed moment that actually leads to more women truly taking back our own personal sovereignty and speaking up, throwing our hat in the ring, right? That's the goal, that's the vision. I watched an amazing comedy show on Netflix called Nanette by Hannah Gadsby. Has anyone seen that? It is brilliant, right? Her punchline wasn't the normal punchline, but what she said is there is nothing stronger than a broken woman who's rebuilt herself. So if we wanted to be our strongest right now, to really usher in a new way of being on this planet, we would choose to be broken so that we could reclaim ourselves. So why don't we do that, huh? So thank you for being here. Thank you, Devin, for everything that you do for this community. And let's create some change, shall we?